Okay, so I'm gonna try and record this and like not pay attention to the fact that I'm recording this at the same time. So we got a few questions about the legal system going on in my head right now. Got a buddy that got stopped and they broke a whole lot of rules to like first off, right to privacy, scope of practice, whatever. Anyways, constables and all that. We already went over all that shit. They don't have the right to stop us, but like they do anyways. So consensual jurisdiction and all that is relevant, but not currently. So I'm trying to figure out the best approach to that. So they have 30 days to give you your motion to discovery, right? Or they're in a, bad faith or whatever. You can file sanctions with the court, blah, blah, blah. So isn't it their obligation to educate you on your rights when you go to your initial hearing? Like, having a lawyer present isn't really a thing when you are being pulled out of the jail cell, which is, by the way, illegal kidnapping. Because like they actually cannot put you behind bars, and like resisting is your right, not not a rule that you're breaking. But so you don't have a lawyer present, you don't know what your speedy trial rights are, any of those things. You don't have a law degree usually. I mean, otherwise you're probably not in that situation, right? I mean, generally, you can be, but like So who informs you what those rights are, what they mean, what that implication has on the long-term longevity and the outcome of your trial, and how is it impartial and unbiased? But like, anyways, my question is, like, can you still file a fucking speedy trial? Like, 28 days away from like, getting your motion to discovery. Because I was kind of wondering, like, because I asked for an interpreter because I didn't understand what I was being charged with, because, like, I was not charged with anything with the resisting, which I wasn't doing until they tried to take me out of my car for no reason. So, like, I'm not really sure how that works. Do you just not get your speedy trial because you don't know what it is, or do you just not have a lawyer present? Like, is that an initial hearing? Are they violating your rights with the preliminary 10 days before it goes on the record? Are they even allowed to have a court session? Who is the impartial party that is giving you these, hearings? Because, like, I'm pretty sure that a prosecutor and your witness list, which would be the law enforcement that detains you unlawfully without reasonable suspicion other than, like, they ran your name, which is a violation of your privacy, your rights, and your safety, security of your home, family, and your, everything that you hold dear, like, your kids and all of that stuff. So that being said, like, that's constitutional, which supersedes all the other laws. But like now they put you in a jail cell and they give you a preliminary hearing with a prosecutor and people in a position of authority that said you were guilty because they have a conditioned behavioral pattern of like police training that says that, like, in this situation you respond this way. It's kind of the same as PTSD, which been there, had that therapy. It's great. But basically that just tells me it's confirmed bias, and like an interaction with a cop that has not ran your name, like you're me, is totally different than interaction with a cop that knows me. So if they would have responded differently, you would have never been in that circumstance, but they shouldn't have been able to run your name in the first place because you have your right to privacy and it's supposed to be consensual to give that information. But yet you pay taxes and shit, and the community can't get out of that because you have to buy, like, resources, clothes, food, school supplies, whatever, like, you need, gas. So those are automatically, you're getting taxed for that. And then you get state tax, local tax, twice if you work in the same county that you live in. Like, so you can't get away from paying taxes, but yet you can't have the right to privacy. You can lose your license, even though we appoint them to the positions to, like, delegate the, ins and outs of funds and, legislature and stuff like that, which really does not equivalent to impunitive, unchecked power or, just anyways, that's a whole nother story. I'm getting too far into that. But like basically, the law enforcement would not have responded that way and didn't have a right to run your name, even if they did have the scope of practice to do what they did. Where's your right to a fair trial and innocent until proven guilty? You don't have a lawyer present when you go in front of the judge. The judge is literally paid by the county that you pay taxes in, so thus you're paying for the judge, which makes him a paid judge, not an unbiased or uncompensated, which means that he has a vested interest, due to a paycheck. He also is the one that decides that there's enough evidence after the police file their report, law enforcement or a prosecutor files their report, and then the grand jury, which is 5 out of 12 people in your community randomly selected that have said that they think you're guilty. So how, like, and the judge puts it on a docket, which says that I agree, there's enough evidence here. I think you're guilty too. And then he's unbiased, or she is unbiased in your case, and makes a decision like with what checks and balances of democracy. But like, how am I supposed to know what the laws are, understand them, and understand what my rights and trial rights are without somebody to explain them to me? And my lawyer is contracted by the same county and same judges and works with them on a regular basis. That like, you literally like don't want an hostile work environment, but like you do the best you can with like the circumstances and like how you can with the laws. But like it is so complex that like there's a million and one things and like technicalities. Like how could you possibly even know that you broke the law, let alone that like how to use your rights to like maneuver through that by yourself? And then they throw you on a cell without standard human living rights of fucking dignity, underwear, bra, all the stuff and things. Like you get one phone call if you're lucky, if you ask, like, and remember like 3 days later. Yeah, you're not given your privacy. You don't have any rights. Oh yeah, you definitely weren't getting a fair trial because they already said you were guilty before you even got in front of the judge. That's why they're putting you in front of the judge. So I don't understand how you're getting a fair trial amongst peers in your community anyways, because they already have a preconceived notion of who you are. But like, a preliminary hearing doesn't go on the case court docket for 10 days, which means that you didn't get a hearing in front of a magistrate within a reasonable time, which is 72 hours. They also denied you knowledgeable and full awareness of your rights and the implications of what that would mean. Did not give you the courtesy of believing that you're innocent until proven guilty by detaining you and then making an assessment as to whether you are a risk to the community or not, based off of past experience with the community, previous law enforcement interaction, previous records, juvenile records, all the stuff and things they're not even supposed to have access to because they're literally making a decision about your life that like affects everyone around you and the entire community, and then using a jury trial if you are not intimidated enough to like scared that like they're going to take your life and they're going to charge you with the whole sentence even though you're not guilty, because like we've seen it happen a million times, allegedly, maybe, possibly. You know who you are if you know what I'm talking about. um, but like I don't understand how I don't get it. Why has nobody said anything about this? Like, you don't even get a bra and underwear, bro. And you freeze in a fucking environment that's like filled with bacteria and staph infection. Does anybody remember like not touching the stairwells in school because like the wrestling mats and like all the other stuff things they said? Because it's like a hospital, you're more likely to catch an infection in a place where people are like in close quarters like that, and concrete tends to manifest a lot of sedimentation that stays in the walls. But like either way, where's your dignity, your rights to like human standard of living? Where's your rights to a lawyer? Where's your understanding of what you've done? Where's their checks and balances to keep it fair and not impunitive? And where the I don't understand where we lost the it was supposed to be for public safety and health, like the Black Plague time period, that like we gave us these regulations for safety and security, but we're not actually getting those safeties and securities, and it's actually pretty discriminatory against certain like people. Like if you have felonies, try and go board a plane, see if the TSA lets you on. Try and get a job. Oh wait, did you have your right to privacy there? Shoot, I don't know if you did or not, because I feel like anything that violates your personal information, like your name or anything else, literally, violates your safety and security and your family. So like that's supposed to be consensual in exchange for equality of safeties and human health behavior, fucking protocols, waste management. Because people living in the gutters and like I was at 1400s, 15th century Europe, like literally died from that because people were throwing waste in the streets and people were like living in the gutters because like nobody had places to go. economy has always kind of been a great thing, huh? I got a little monopoly. But anyway, so like because of those, great events in history, we've literally developed, CDC, the FDA, the fucking EPA, your water waste management, your, housing and urban development regulation committees, like all these things. This is where the where our like government offices came from, and like the right to govern these things began was because of things like that, like COVID, for example, swine flu, like all the stuff and things that people like get sick from, and it's literally from lack of like standard of living, because like people are being removed from their homes without trials. But yet they expect you to know your trial rights and to defend your freedom for something that you are not required to provide burden of proof of. And they would have never probably even began that process if it were not for an invasion of your constitutional rights and privacy in the first place. And it's so exclusive. They like try and go get a government job. There's no discrimination, right? But like try and go work at the post office or any type of government facility that we, by the way, taxpayers fund. So like we're not only getting charged to like run these facilities, staff these facilities, but then also the products and stuff that they are managing or putting legislatures in over are being unreasonably obtained. I guess we forgot the Boston Tea Party, something about that. I mean, I feel as though that was a thing. Somebody might have to remind me. I think there was something about luxury taxes and the government not supposed to like do that, and there's something about with their tea in the harbor or something. I don't know. Yeah, no, you may want to do some research on that. But like, I'm really having a struggle here with the whole having a hearing that's not even a legal hearing for 10 days, and then it's still a legal hearing then, but like you didn't get your rights. So what's the process of default for lack of due process? So automatically and denied your initial rights, and like the fact that you have to be understanding of a crime to be charged for it, or like that we're supposed to not discriminate against any social economics or demographic status whatsoever, and provide reasonable accommodations for everyone, which would mean like providing them without making it aware. So like immunity and anonymity, whatever we call that, or where you're not supposed to have like violate your privacy and your personal information, like an EBT card, for example. Personally have one. I'm not ashamed of it at all. Very grateful for the resources that we have available, but like it's very, very hard to find those resources also, I've found. And also, again, taxpayer dollars, and they manage it for us, but yet somehow we get denied for that. I'm having some issues with how things are going lately. Maybe I'm just not understanding how they work, but like I really don't understand how you can understand the laws and not have a lawyer present and still lose your right to a speedy trial because they said you understood, because you clearly had an option to say something other than yes, Your Honor, I understand. Yes, I guess I'm not sitting here like, oh man, like it's just my whole life is about to be like taken from me, and like I woke up in a cold, wet cell with a hole in the floor with mold, and I don't even know what that was. Somebody's broken burrito from last week, and that because they hate that shit. But like, I'm just saying. I woke up and I had to pull a jumpsuit down. I ain't have nothing on top and bottom, and it's cold in here, bro. And this little blanket ain't doing it for me. I don't know about you, but I don't got commissary or nothing because, like, again, like, not able to really afford stuff like that. And I definitely don't have cash on me usually because, I'm kind of broke in life. It's a little expensive to live. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but, like, it's definitely expensive to live. So I don't know. I don't know how y'all doing, but, like, I'm waking up with no thermals unless I got a great bunkie in or two that, like, is definitely looking out for me because, like, that's and some, we'll leave that alone because I've had some family and stuff to help it. Then the point is they should never have to. But like, why am I waking up in a cold cell with pulling my jumpsuit halfway down my body? Like I don't have dignity and rights as a person because they said I did something that I didn't actually do. Like, are they? Maybe I did do it. Like, it doesn't matter. But who are they to tell me I could or couldn't? And like, why did they stop me? Who are like? Did they know me? Did they recognize me? Did I do something? Like, because I'm pretty sure the last incident that I had was like, I literally was not doing anything or bothering anybody, mind their own business. we're gonna leave that one alone. That's for a later date, and like that one, I'll be back on that one. That's a lot to go through though. But like, I'm really concerned that like the fact that we have all these educated, knowledgeable people, and like I don't know what questions to ask them to solve this problem, because I don't know what the laws are or the rules or how the legal system works to even have a chance to understand what to ask them to like know how to like plead my case. Like, so chances are like I'm in a state of panic, and like I'm not thinking yes, sir, I absolutely don't understand. Hey, over here, somebody explain that, because like I don't know, because that's what you're going to say in a courtroom when you're like, you know, not sure what the hell's going on. And again, like I said, you just woke up to a bowl of bran flakes and a piece of toast, and you know, you don't know what happened, because like you're minding your own business. Next minute, you know, like you're not a person anymore, and you don't have rights, and like you do, but like you don't. You're less than everybody else because you didn't, like, you're clearly guilty because you're in a cell, right? So, and now I don't have a lawyer. I don't know what the rules are. I don't even know what I'm here for. Like, what did I do? Eh, I don't know, man. Like, I do know a couple things, like, you know, that it doesn't seem very checks and balances, or like, you know, that a jury would have an educated knowledge of the law without a law degree either to be able to make a decision about my life, and or anybody else that I know. And I'm pretty sure that democracy and republics don't have impunitive, monarchies. That's kind of, you know, Revolutionary Warish right there. But like, I don't know if anybody's read the Constitution as of late, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in there it said like, we don't want to do that by John Hancock. By the way, you can actually sign the Constitution online. Did that? Great thing. I would have signed it bigger than John Hancock if I would have had the ability, and they would have allowed me the space on there, because I'm telling you what, I'm starting to think there's something to these constitutional rights. I don't know if somebody's got some answers on that whole question about the lawyer and like the initial trial, and like how that's not an automatic default of like, you know, due process, or like how one would go about arguing that without having said law degree. I mean, I did technically get a bar degree or bar ID for taking the bar exam from the Bar Association, but all I said was like I have the constitutional right to take the bar exam because I'm an American, and like that's, you know, Pangea. But like I have the right because you said I do, because the Constitution says life, liberty, and prosperity as I see fit, because it's my life and I'm not harming anybody. So like I can actually go take the bar exam. Never been to law school, never been there. But I wanted to have one, so like I did that. So like you can do that. That's your right. But like that doesn't mean that I understand the law, that I understand how to use it, how to like manipulate things to like the right circumstances, or like it's like a game of chess. I don't know how to play chess either. You don't see me sitting over here trying to play chess. I mean, I might try and learn, but like, so, you know, I'm thinking I'm not trying to learn that much that fast, bro. Hell, that's my whole life. This is my kids' lives. What you mean? I was sitting in my car, and now I'm like, what you mean? I'm facing 2.5 years. Wait, for sitting in my car on the road that I paid for? Wait, hold on. I got questions, but like I can't ask you because like I don't know. And by the time I get out of here, I'm so stressed out and I'm hungry. Like that bowl of cereal did not go far. I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing, but like I'm probably not going home because I can't make bond. Ugh, not supposed to have to pay that because like, you know, social economic status and discrimination and stuff, because like I'm broke. It's broke kids, but like I still sit here because like I can't pay it. Oh, hell, I probably don't even have anybody's phone numbers because, like, this is the 21st century and we got cell phones, man. I don't remember how to fucking look up a number. I feel like I don't have it memorized. It's like I click on their name and I call, and, like, I don't even do that because I don't call. I don't answer my phone. Anybody who knows me knows I don't answer my phone. But, like, I'll text you back. But, like, I don't know your number either. So, like, you better have a list of those ready to go because, like, otherwise, if they let you keep it, like, you ain't calling nobody. Like, it's payphone. Remember those things? Yeah. Those things still exist, but like I'm wondering how to call them in reverse because they have locations. I know they do because switchboard access is a thing, but like I really would just rather like them not be there. But that's also why they have to provide you cell phones. People understand that when they took out phone booths, they took out emergency contact and collect calling at reasonable distances from certain locations in towns, cities, rural areas, and other types of populaces, which means that the FCC has to provide emergency broadcast networks phone service. That's why we have SafeLink Wireless and stuff like that. It's not just for people like me who can't afford anything, because, like, you know, it is what it is. But, like, it's for everybody. That's literally, we pay for that anyways, so utilize it. Like, there's so many programs out there. It's so hard to find them, but, like, and how to use them, and, like, not get, like, denied because, like, of, you know, financial or whatever reason. Like, that's literally illegal, guys. That's literally illegal. Think about it. How can you deny the IRS and all the government offices are paid for with tax-funded dollars? First off, that's your money. So they're denying you your resources with your money because you make too much money to access the services to get free, which you already paid for. So now you got to pay for it twice, but also, like, you get denied, and like, it's, you know, constitutionally unjust for them to ask the questions that they do to be able to access those. So why are we doing that? Why is there not just like a general acceptance, like everybody just has this? And it's across the board because they have certificates and deposit by, you know, numbers that literally government agencies have for accounts payable to automatically process these payments to make it simpler and easier. So they're not spending 3 years processing 1 week worth of, like, you know, certificates. So, like, they're already in place. Why are we not, why do we have to dig to find these, like, when it's literally our money that we paid them to, like, disperse these things? When those certificates exist and we could literally just count them like vouchers, like if you've ever been somewhere where they have like a coupon for a free sandwich, like, because you're a loyal customer and you come all the time, whatever, even if you're not, they just give you a free coupon just to, like, get you to come in. Well, they give you that for, like, the basic essentials of life. There's a one for every single thing that, like, is standard of living. So, like, you know, housing, food, clothes, shelter, stuff like that. Like, all the stuff, things that, like, you know, they say when you have children that you're supposed to provide in order to have a safe home for your children. This is what they're supposed to have a certificate for. And the government offices that you already paid to run, build, you know. So there's already an account there. Why are we not just across the board giving that to everybody and then opening up that funding for all kinds of other things? It's just, it's not even counted. It's monopoly money, man. Money only has the value that we say it has because we say it has it. So, like, let's make a dollar, and the businesses get paid, the houses get paid, the food, your farmers get paid, everybody gets paid, but it doesn't come out of budgeting and funding. So, like, and then we're not funding places like, you know, institutions that hold people and, like, without due process and are unconstitutionally just, like, that would probably help a little too, but, like, it's a little far. Let's just start with, like, you know, understanding what the rules and laws are and why ignorance is not a claim. How do we argue that? Because, like, I don't know the legal system and, like, what all the laws are. Did you know it's illegal to kick a can 3 times? Still on the books. Still can go to jail for that. I don't know if you can go to jail for it, but, like, it's a thing. There's something. You might get flogged or something. Depends on what the rules were back in the day. Not really sure. Have to look into that one. But, you know, it's also illegal to kiss a bearded man on the stairs of the courthouse or something, which is fine because I don't even like bearded guys and I don't plan on kissing anybody. But, like, you know, some things. I don't know. Anyways, if you come up with the answer on that, like, let me know. But, like, also definitely look into that tax-funded, you know, tax dollar paid by funding for things. And, like, remember that not everybody gets the same things as everybody else and pays all the same taxes and dues as everybody else, and it's kind of double jeopardy and continue to punishment for crimes that, like, they technically didn't have a right to prosecute in the first place. But that's interpretation, gray area. Fucking, we'll see where that goes. But, like, technically the other parts about, like, having a lawyer present and stuff, like, I really do want to know because, like, I'm curious how the checks and balances work. I'd be interested in some input, and I know some people that could probably use that also, probably me again in the future. So, you know, I just, food for thought. Also, like, why don't can I borrow a cop car if I pay for it? Does that count? Like, I'm just seriously asking. Not that I would do that. I'm just asking. Because, like, do they have to give you a gallon of gas or something? There's, like, they don't have to. I don't know. There's something about that. But, like, seriously, though. A fire truck? Can I borrow a fire truck? That would be, yeah, they should, there's reason, there's rules against that. Okay, never mind, moving on in life. But, like, just let me know what you guys come up with, because, like, I'm curious, seriously.